People are confusing me. So did this post came out yesterday? The Hodgetwins have they started? Are they stepping into the Candace era and Owens
I don't
space?
know. I don't know
What
what
is
switched, clicked, skipped for
what
them to
what is this? What is this?
have that change in mindset unless they are completely, clueless as to what's going on. And I'm not professing to know every single solitary thing.
So they said on the post, President Trump has completely lied to his voters, backstab our country, and has disgraced his legacy. Supposed to be his has disgraced his legacy beyond repair at this point. Biggest fall from grace I've ever seen. And then I see they
How?
posted on this page and say day 4 of Hodgetwins being hating MAGA traders for being anti-war. No, that's not being anti-war. I think that how y'all said it, even if you anti-war, I think how y'all said it makes you look like traitors, like you anti. Because y'all said it, I swear that sounds like a liberal post.
Yeah, but I mean, everything that to me, many of the things that he said he was going to do when he got in office, he's done so far. No, many people are not pleased with how this Epstein list has unfolded.
No.
I definitely can say that because I'm still waiting on somebody in the U.S. to be locked up. The UK done beat the U.S. to it. They done already locked up the Prince, what's his name? But I don't get that post. I don't agree at all. I think it needs to be a little bit more clarification. Maybe they dropped the video because I like them. I like a lot of the content that they do, but I don't understand this post, and I definitely don't agree with it.
I think that's going to hurt them. I think that's going to hurt them, but it may be on their, I'm gonna say maybe on their comedic stuff. It might not, but I feel like
They
on
need
their
to put some
political
smiley faces
side,
out back
they
there,
better,
or
they
some
need to make
clown
some changes
faces
because
one.
the thing is, think about it. If
Yes.
you're making content and you're like nigga this and you comedy against black people kind of thing, the comedy against black, and then you go and you get that post, people are going to start looking at you like, okay, your package deal ain't looking right no. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think they should have worded that differently. It should have been something where you're just like, we're totally against war. We support the president, but we're not supporting in support of this per se. But you're just saying he backstabbed and lied to us. That looks really
Yeah,
flawed.
I don't agree. I voted for him to do what was required to protect our country and to put us first. That's my vote, and that's exactly what I see him doing. That's what I see him doing. Now, am I going to know every single solitary thing that goes on in the government and their decisions? Of course, we're not. We don't have that level of access. We don't work for the government, and even if you do, you still are at a certain level. So, many people who are back there are being privy to certain things because they have the access and they have the connections, and they also work in certain departments that give them the level. But they can have access to people and not work in those departments. And I don't want to get on and go on and on about it. But when I saw that, I was like, oh no, what has happened here?
Right. No, I was like, oh, whoa,
What
that kind of threw
in
me
the
like
world?
a curveball.
Yeah, I don't agree.
It
You
said
know?
they put a post out a couple of days ago. So are you happy with the president bombing Iran twice so far in his second term? Because I'm assuming they were trying to get a feel of what people are going to say. And maybe even an assumption that they're going to have a lot more no than yeses. But people are like, yes, we want things to move forward. And although Kamala and Biden both said no to it, that's not the person we have. This is God's
No.
David. This is God's King Cyrus.
Please.
So of course it's going to be different because God needs certain things to happen, and they weren't going to happen under the regime of those other people.
And they played their part just like Judas played his part. He was destined for that role, and so were they. The previous administration was destined to do exactly what they did. That's why they did it. And no one else could have done it like them but them.
And then they put on here 3 American soldiers have already died for Israel. But when you have war, when war happens, no matter what fashion, somebody is going to go. So yes, unfortunately, we have lost 3 American patriots from our homeland, but they've lost a lot more on the bad guy side. So think about, and then they're saying, oh, we lost the soldiers, but look how many, but didn't we just have shooters? Mm-hmm. Don't we have sleeper cells? Don't we have always had sleeper cells?
How many do we have is
Right.
the question. And my thing is when people decide that they want to defend their country, no matter what area they choose to join the military in, then that is their commitment, saying that they're willing to give up their life to protect their country. That's why I feel like, being an officer in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine is, one of the most highly, honorable jobs or roles there could be, because you're sacrificing and you're willing, whether it happens or not. We definitely don't want it to happen, but they are aware of what's happening before they take that, role in that oath.
And they said Republican voters are calling us libtards because we don't like U.S. soldiers dying for Israel. And I think, honestly, I'm telling you, it's how they worded and said that comment. It made them seem like liberals. It did make them seem like anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, because they could have said it differently. You could have said it differently. And I understand you full-grown adults and you could say how you want, but there's going to be repercussions how you say things. It's not even that you said it, but it's the fact that how you said it makes the repercussions.
And I just don't get all the content that, they've been putting out and what they've been talking about, and, even the videos that they have to highlight, the disgrace, of part of the black culture and what we've been seeing. They highlight that a lot because it's just detestable to so many of us. And, I just don't even see how they can switch and be on the blue side. I just don't see it. So
I don't think they are. I don't think they'd be blue side, but I think they could have worded that a lot better.
Yeah, maybe how it was worded.
Right. And so I'm just looking at what people are saying. You could keep talking. I'm looking at what others are saying live, like now on X, and what are the comments coming out about. And then they just be mindful about linking anything close to what Candace talking about, because this same woman think that that Erica Kirk had Charlie taken out. So I'm just saying, just be a little bit mindful about being put in the list. Her, Myron Gaines, they talking about all these Nick Fuentes, all these people that have now gone like anti-Trump. And I just seen this is the only post I've seen Hodgetwins do was the whole thing about what they said, but that's the first time but the other people have gone off. And Myron was for Trump, but now Myron Gaines was from Fresh and Fit. Mm-hmm. Now he's playing the music, happy and dancing with a little mask on and a gun, saying, take out Israel. And because I think he's Muslim.
People, they really just don't understand the repercussions of their, behaviors, or, level up. It's time to level up.
Well, and I believe this comment right here. This comment, somebody says, now I kind of understand what this person say. Thriller the Gorilla say the Israel in the Bible and the modern state of Israel set up by the Rothschilds are not the same. Well, that might be true, but God tells us to defend Israel. So although Israel has done wicked and cruel things like they did biblically, especially when you're crossing over the Jordan, idolatry, worshiping other things, doing grotesque things. Israel is still does that. But God, they are number one in God's eye, so we still support Israel. We don't like everything they do over there, but God has assigned us to support them. Mm-hmm. That's why I believe that we can be so fruitful in this country, because we obey God and we went to protect them. But as soon as we take our hand off and don't look after them, we're going down the pit hole fast. And especially that this country is half God, half not. Yeah. So, it's but so I just think they say, I don't believe they're liberals. I don't believe they libtards. I believe they made a comment that made them look very sketch, that one comment. And you got to think, people aren't forgiving. You do one thing that's off from the regime.
It just didn't come out right. Maybe they didn't, explain it in the best way.
Why is everyone commenting what war? Tell that to the families of the fallen soldiers so far. Tell that to the soldiers who are fearing for their lives because they're in harm's way. Whether you label it war or military operation, it's all the same. American soldiers are still going. Why are those on the right downplaying what our military is going through? I pray our soldiers and their families. But the thing is, when it's war, unfortunately. Yes, that's why we sign up for the service. That's why we sign up to be Marines. That's why we sign up to be Rangers. That comes with the territory of going to war.
Exactly.
And of course we don't want war, but we will never, things we're not going to go forward unless we do the certain things we do, unfortunately.
And I guarantee you that you have an expectation that your country soldiers should be able to protect your country at all costs. You're not going to be thinking about that when stuff continues to escalate on our soil. You're going to want our soldiers who signed up for it and took it and has the training and the level of expertise to be able to get out there and defend our country. So, I hear you, but, come on.
Somebody even made a comment, and I kind of maybe agreed to us. So she said, wait, I thought this was because Iran was getting nuked tomorrow. Oh, it's been planned for 40 years. I'm not a fan of Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't know how God sees Benjamin Netanyahu. Just because you're Israel, I don't know how God sees him, because I feel like he's been wanting war to happen. And so I'm not a big fan of it. I just get that feeling, that he ain't it, but it is. But it's.
I don't trust him, but I don't have all the information, and nor have I went down that rabbit hole to put certain things together. But I do know that this has been prophesied, and things have been transpiring on our soil. And this isn't just the first brink of war. We've been in dealing with Iran since the Bush years.
Right.
Yeah. So and when they were in office, they were talking about securing our borders. The Bushes, the Obamas, the Clintons.
See, these comments and supporting these comments is why people think you're going to join Kamala. This person said, if Kamala Harris was a commander in chief, every last one of you newly minted neocons would absolutely be screaming to the rifters about the absurdity of starting another pointless war in the Middle East. And you know it. By them, and they said that's the damn truth. And I believe that comments like that make you look like you could switch sides. I ain't agreeing with nothing with no Kamala.
No.
Them people, they were the worst, bro. But anyway, I'm just wondering, are they? I don't think they fully switch sides, but I'm monitoring.
Yeah.
What's that, right?
Yeah. What's the real mindset behind it?
What's the mindset behind it? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because of the war, or is it because now you're starting to, change your whole ideological view?
Right. That's what I was wondering.
You have a president that you say you supported, and he's doing what he said he was going to do.
And you don't like what he's doing because he said, and maybe this is getting caught because Trump did say, we're not going to war, but we have to go to war. I believe that certain things you can say, but then when it's really trying to get in there and get in that seat, certain things become inevitable.
Change. That's right. And we don't have all of the information. We don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, but we can go and do some historical research and connect dots based off what's being revealed. We still got to read what someone else reports. We're still listening to other, news broadcasters as well as content creators, piece it together. Historians, you can go down the deep dive of history if you want to kind of go back to how things were and what the other problems that we had or other presidents were doing around the Iran-Contra affair and all those things. I remember it with with the dad, the son, and especially with the Obamas as well. They went down there like Debo on Osama bin Laden. So, we have to be able to take our emotion out of it and allow our government to do right thing, whether we understand it or not. But my thing is, whether we understand or not, look at the people of the country who now have the freedom from a dictator.
Yeah, right. Shouting in the streets with celebration and crying and tears, just like the people in Venezuela was.
Exactly. That should tell you something. I'll never forget. There was a lady when that happened in Venezuela, she was telling people in America who were protesting against the freedom of what they had. She was like, you have no idea. Sit down, close your mouth. You're clueless. We are happy. It's like, and you've never been there. That's why it really irritates me when people want to stand behind the cause that they know nothing about. And in our country, we've never faced, things that these other countries have faced by being under a dictator type leader. Thank God.
So I'm gonna say for the Hodgetwins, I hope they not switching their views and going over there, but it's a free country. You can do that.
Yeah. But if you do it, just provide your viewers with a true explanation.
And if you are switching views, you about to lose a heck of a lot of people. I know y'all got a lot of followers, but you're gonna lose a lot of people if your views switching to the Candace Owens type. And Candace Owens to me is still the queen of YouTube. She is, but she's really drifted off into something else. So I hope that was just a comment because you felt the emotion about the side, being that y'all are former soldiers. And some people lost their lives and end up still going to war. But it's inevitable. We can try our best. I guess I feel like a president can try their best not to do this. They can campaign on this, but then when the rubber really hits the road, you got to go and you got to make it move. Or I guess it could be because when they said Kamala and Biden was like, we're not going to get involved. But same person let the border open up so that we have to get involved. So at the same breath, you know.
For 4 years, these people did nothing. Thank God we have the president that we have that will go toe to toe with other leaders. Please, Biden was on the beach all day, just about. He was asleep. He was out of the office at 4 o'clock. Please, let me not go there.
All right, y'all. So have the Hodgetwins. I'm gonna put it down in the bottom as the Hodgetwins switching it up. Yes or no? I'm gonna put a poll down there, man. So we'll see you on the next one.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys.
Yep, you took the words.
We love you.
See you on the next one.